Councillor Wisdom to Costa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, I want to say thank you to the Lib Dem administration, the local independents who are involved in that, and the officers, because you've done a lot of good things. This was clearly a poison chalice that you inherited. No disrespect to anyone else. Now, I want to change tack slightly. We all were horrified by the shocking scenes in the White House this week where JD Vance and President Trump were haranguing President Zelensky, and you saw gaslighting of the highest order, with Zelensky being asked to capitulate, being browbeaten and told it was his fault, really. And the same thing is happening here. Exactly the same thing is happening here. We are being browbeaten and gaslit, not by each other, because we're all trying to do the best for our residents and for our council. No mistake about that. But by the Labour government, who are saying, take this EFS, it's a one-year settlement, and trust us. In fact, they're not even saying trust us for the future. They're actually saying we won't let you borrow in the future. So Rachel Reeves has said today. So we are being screwed over by the Labour government. I want to put that into the context of what I'm about to say. So let's go back to this budget now and what we're actually doing. So yes, this budget is probably not going to be balanced because, as the column has said, there are going to be accounting errors. And of course, what we haven't, and it's great to see the work being done on accounting systems for adult services and social services and children's services, but we've still got a bit of a black hole when it comes to place. So this budget is not going to be right, sadly. Now, I want to switch attention to our legal obligation under Section 3 of the Local Government Act 1999. And this will hopefully bring things together. Now, this requires the local authority, and let's be clear, that's you members, that's me. It's not the officers, it's us. It requires us to make arrangements to secure continuous improvement. We can't actually give that responsibility to officers. It's ours here tonight, voting, okay? Yeah, even at 9% council tax increase, we're projected to be £34 million overspent. We can't pay our bills each year to the tune of £34 million. And the papers show that over the next 5 years, it's going to be another £30 million and £34 million every year, which will end up in a debt, as Councillor Hunter said, of around about £330 million. This is not the continuous improvement required by law. I want to read from the finance director. To put it another way, the council will be even worse off overall as a consequence, with an additional £10 million of borrowing costs required. That's from the £103 million borrowing to plug this current gap. It's worse than that, though. Continuing to plug the gap via successive capitalisation directives simply makes the financial position worse. So £34 million a year, not enough money, too much costs. We're trading insolvently and racking up debts to pay for day-to-day costs. That's a government expression, day-to-day costs. Members, if we approve this budget, and listen, I applaud the Lib Dems and the officers for getting us this far. As I say, we're being gaslit by the Labour government. If you approve this budget, we will be in breach of Section 3 of the Local Government Act 1999. That can't be good for the residents. That can't be good for our council. And legally speaking, if we make that decision, it can't be good for us as individuals. Imagine this in years to come. Your children, or in my case, grandchildren, they come to you and ask, Granddad, what's the point of council tax? And I say, let's say you can pay off my debt. But that's not fair. It really isn't. So let's talk about the SIP for guidance and the government guidance. Okay, clause 37 in the statutory guidance for best value says, in all cases, the government has set a clear expectation that authorities continue to manage and mitigate their financial pressures. We're actually not doing that. We're making this worse by increasing our debts, by capitalising our day-to-day expenditure. The government guidance on provisional on the financial settlement says it's up to us here in this room, to decide what that council tax will be. So by setting it too low, we're causing a problem, okay? The SIP have also said that covering recurring day-to-day revenue expenditure through capitalisation is unsustainable and represents poor financial management and, most significantly, poor value for money for the taxpayer. In other words, we're in breach of the law. EFS is not a get-out-of-jail card. It's a get-into-jail-later card. Please don't approve this budget. Now, finally, I'm really, really disappointed that Councillor Buckley and myself and the Independent Alliance put together a motion that would help us make those continuous improvements. But we were denied by officers from presenting that, from taking us to the next lawful stage, which is a referendum, so residents can make an informed choice as to what's going on and whether they will accept the consequences of higher and higher debt in the future. So this is no criticism of the Lib Dems or the officers. You have to reject this budget. Thank you.